four-part of each EPA certification that we send out. There's vapor, which equals non-condensables. There is a purity. There is oil, high boiling residue, which basically what we do here, we have a Pyrex glass here that we fill up with an oil sample, and we'll actually boil off 100 milliliters of liquid, and it will come down to a certain point where you actually can tell a percentage of the oil inside the gas that we are testing, as opposed to either that or they can send us in a full oil sample that we will boil off and also tell the percentage of oil in the chiller that they send in necessarily in an oil sample, or as I said, for our cert, basically we'll be able to get an oil number that we have a standard for, that we can tell them and kind of check in our records, obviously, that is, if it is under a standard, that we can actually pass that through and send this off to what we call InterTeck.
I see. So that standard you're talking about is the ARI 700 standard? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay. So what else do you have there? Now it tests for oil in the refrigerant.
This is high boiling residue, yes,
okay.
oil. So obviously this is a small scale which measures up to about 2,000 grams. It tells us basically kind of our net refrigerants of all the samples we're running here. Between oil and actually which we're moving on to now, which is a moisture sample.
What is that piece of equipment that we're looking at right now?
This measures the actual water content of anything that's basically in our shop, or that we necessarily have to send out for also a certification. As I referred back to those 4 points that were in the certification, this is one of the key parts in it, because anything that we send out, any of our gas that we send out, we don't want to have moisture in any of the chillers that we send out or any of the residential systems that we send out. So we make sure that anything that we have a standard of 10 parts per million of water that we have to be under the number actually. So what we do here is we'll inject about an 18 gram sample, 18 to 20 gram sample of the gas that we have inside our shop, and it will be under a standard of 10. So we want a number basically of under 10 that we would like to have, which is the water inside the sample that is actually in the gas.
I see. So as far as the refrigerant certification, now that's a very important word here. In fact, it's part of the company's name.
Yeah, one of the big certifications.
Tell me, how do we get that certification? Now, some people don't realize that it's mandated by the EPA that no refrigerant, no gas, can change ownership without first being certified. So how do you get that certification?
Well, as I said, so we refer back to the 4 points. We have a non-sample, we have a moisture sample, we have a purity, and we have an oil, high boiling residue. So basically what we try to do is, there's a set of guidelines by InterTeck, which is our company that we send off our samples to, and they give us a certain amount of guidelines as to where we should be under.
Okay.
So we send our sample out hoping to be under that, which we always are.
So you send the sample in what? What do you send it in?
These blue bottles here. We send out, we'll fill this, basically this blue bottle, up to 2,000 grams, basically get that full to the scale. And it will represent basically one of our 10,000 pound tanks, which we have numerous ones. I think we have 20 or so in the shop, which also we have 5,000 pound tanks and half tons that we'll actually take one of these samples off, and we do each 4 of those tests to represent that tank. And they will send us back this bottle and also a EPA certification that will tell us our gas is good to basically send out to all of our contractors.
That's great. So now you've got gas that's been certified by an independent lab, InterTeck, and that documentation, that certificate goes with and follows that gas even after it's packaged. We can trace it back. Is that correct?
That's correct. We have a batch number that we actually put down on every cylinder that we send out that shows actually what batch that came from, which basically this certifies. Well, this will have a batch number labeled as it comes back with it from InterTeck, and each cylinder that we send out to any kind of contractor will be placed with that batch number, so we can trace it back to basically this little blue sample bottle that represents 10 or 20,000 pounds.
That's great. All right. Well, thank you, Dylan. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
So there's our first visit here at CRS, and and the first of many videos that we hope to put out there so that you can see what we do here. And I want to thank you for checking it out, and come back and visit us at our website at www.certifiedrefrigerant.com. Until the next time, thanks again. This is Jerry Sawyer.